The states we do know that he's going to visit include Pennsylvania and Arizona and Wisconsin, and all of that will start after Labor Day. In the meantime, let's get a read of the significance of this as the pace picks up dramatically now that the conventions are over. We've got Francesca Chambers here. Francesca, of course, the Clatchy White House correspondent. We've also got Robert Patillo here, the Democratic strategist, coming to us via Skype. And last but not least, Beverly Hallberg, District Media Group president. Beverly, I ended with you, so let me begin with you on this idea that this is a different posture for Joe Biden to take. He's been resting comfortably, or we're told resting comfortably, on this poll lead he has. Is he now prepared to leave his home and get out more because he fears, or others are telling him that he should fear, that lead could be evaporating?
It has to be because of poll numbers. Now, he has gone from the basement to upstairs, so he's been doing interviews in different places in the House. But I do think it's important for him to get out there for a couple reasons. One is that many Americans are having to figure out how to live with this pandemic. They're going back to work. Some are going back to school. I think they expect whoever is the president to do the same. But there's a second part, which is he, of course, has been knocked, as the narrative is he actually physically fit in order to be president? That's going to require him getting out there. He's going to have to talk to the press and answer tough questions, and he is going to have to debate. He did say yesterday he would. I'm waiting to see whether or not it's going to be 3 presidential debates or if he's only going to agree to 1, but he's going to have to get out, and I think the polling is pointing to that.
You know, Robert, there's an ad just out now by the Biden camp that really zones in on the virus and how this president has handled it, or to hear the Biden folks tell it not handled it correctly, that it's a sacrifice to sports, that we don't have that now because the president essentially botched it. So they want it to get back to the virus and maybe take the momentum away from the law and order issue that seemed to be and seems to be working very well for Republicans. What do you make of all of this?
Well, I think the average American is far more interested and far more concerned with the coronavirus. Many of us have been in quarantine or been in some form of having alterations to our life for 6-7 months now, and there seems to be no clear plan on what has to happen going forward. If there was clear federal guidelines in March or in April explaining how to restart college sports, putting together plans such as the NBA bubble that we've seen be very effective, the NHL bubble has been very effective, we would not have many of the issues that we have going into the fall. But instead, what we heard from the Republicans was, well, we'll have the entire economy open by Easter, or go away by April. It'll just magically be gone, instead of putting in the hard work that's needed. I had a conversation with the CDC Director Redfield this morning, and there are very clear protocols that could have been put in place and a clear understanding of exactly what needs to happen in order to prevent the spread and to mitigate the damage caused by the virus. But Republicans seem to be intent on fighting this 1968 culture war, a return to Nixonian politics of law and order and the silent majority, instead of working towards the solutions that are needed to help the American people. And that's being borne out by the polling. And no amount of fireworks on the Washington Monument are going to fix that.
First of all, I don't think it's a culture war, a 68 kind of a development, Robert, to sort of minimize what's been going around the country with these violent protests, whether, it's in Wisconsin, whether it's in Portland, Seattle, Chicago. Those are very real issues. They didn't come up at the Democratic convention. They have come up at this convention. So I think the safety issue is maybe more important than you know. That's not to rip you, Robert, but to say that maybe, and Francesca, you can help me with this, these are twin issues that are going to galvanize the campaign. I suspect the course of the virus, whether it gets better, and all this violence going on right now. Republicans are seizing on those, those rallies and demonstrations and some of the looting that's occurred to say that your safety is in question. Biden doesn't talk about it. We are. He has twice now this week during the Republican convention addressed that. So he must be responding to that pressure. Your thoughts?
Well, and he also said that he could go to Wisconsin. That was the context in which Joe Biden potentially getting out on the campaign trail came up in the first place, was whether or not that he would go to Wisconsin, whether he would talk to protesters. He says that he is looking for a way to do that safely. But we really got some insight into what his campaign strategy is moving forward, because he also said yesterday that he's thinking about going to Minnesota, Arizona, and Pennsylvania, as well as Wisconsin. So it really tells you that they see that these polls, that it is narrowing. His lead is evaporating, and he didn't get the kind of bounce in state like North Carolina after the convention, his convention, that they maybe would have expected. We still don't know what kind of a bounce that Donald Trump could get, Neil, but we do know that he will be out on the campaign trail more frequently. Campaign officials on his side telling me that. And his kids, Donald Trump's kids, will also be out on the campaign trail quite aggressively this fall campaigning for him.
All right, we'll see how it goes. Guys, thank you all very, very much. I want to go to Kevin Corcoran.